So all volunteers, everyone, Rohit, Aman, Mayank, Anjali, go for it.
I don't have a webcam attached right now. Sorry.
March. Cool one. Okay, guys, the state's all yours. Go for it.
Cool, awesome. Rich, shall I?
Yes, please. Srini, go for it.
Awesome,
Uh,
awesome, awesome. Hey guys, it's awesome to meet everyone. I mean, we've been meaning to do this very for a very long time actually, and it's pretty cool that we got an opportunity to do this. Thanks to Atul for that. And Rich and I came up with a. I hope so. It's an awesome presentation, but we came with a presentation that could probably help you guys understand a lot of things around the pros and cons of CVs that recruiters receive, and the presentations and the portfolios that you guys present in general, right? So we just thought it'll help you guys as a whole. So yeah, here goes. I'm going to share my screen now. Just let me know if you guys can see my screen. Can you?
You can.
Yes, sir.
Awesome, awesome, wonderful. So yeah, to start with, welcome to Sunday Funday, and as I mentioned, it's a myth busting with recruiters as such, and yeah, we're not recruiters. We are not designers, we're recruiters. So apologies in advance. The presentation might not be the best. So yeah,
yeah, like we wanted to bring it out loud out there that we are not designers, but we tried our best, and whatever skills we have learned from you guys, we have tried our best, and we are gonna put it across. So just quick introduction, right? Like as you all know, my name is Rich. I'm a part of the talent team here in Cred. I majorly take care of design hiring. Prior to Cred, I have been into the gaming industry, been a part of the crypto industry, been into the education sector, and well, now I'm here. So yeah, the first question: what do we do as a recruiter? We don't make rangolis.
yep,
This is a good one.
But what we actually do is we hire people who make rangoli on apps and websites.
yep.
You can play with colors and designs.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, why are we here? Of course, because we don't have a life and we have nothing to do on a Sunday. That's what recruiters do in general. So yeah, that's what it is.
But hey, on a side note, like we want to bring up the pain points from a recruiter side. What we go through, we want to give you a BTS of the entire process, like whatever how the hiring takes place for a designer, and everything is going to be covered during this discussion. So yeah, to start with, right? We want to tell you a story. Like what happens when a recruiter posts a job on LinkedIn. So what do you think happened? Like when a recruiter posts a job on LinkedIn?
Dude, sorry guys to disturb. Rich, somehow the presentation is coming in different pages actually.
Oh,
Sorry about this, guys. Just give me a second.
cool, cool. No worries.
I just
No
need to do
worries.
this, guys. Sorry about
No
this.
worries. No worries. No worries. Meanwhile, yeah. What shall we do? Any suggestions from the folks here on the call?
Rich, this presentation is something you both made on Figma, is it?
We took someone's help.
Yeah, we're just trying to figure out. The pages seem to be in not in order actually. So just give me a second.
Sure, sure, no worries. But dude, I mean, it's really cool stuff what they've done there. I think I really
Like I said, we tried our best, but
We tried our best. We don't know the output. Like I'm gonna let you guys be the judge of it.
I mean,
I,
you guys already see the output.
yeah, yeah. I think while I was speaking, Shinu took the whole slide deck, and everything was pretty great. Like, I love the starting slide with Amitabh Bachchan and everything. Pretty cool stuff.
The GIFs are really cool though.
Just give me a second. Sorry, guys. Rich, keep them entertained on the topic, please.
Oh yeah,
It is
I'm thinking all the possible stories I can tell people.
you actually travel a lot. We'd love to hear some of that.
Oh yeah, I do travel a lot. Luckily, I have a passport which is not Indian, so I get to travel very easily. Uh, but yeah, I've been traveling since like past from my college days. I remember when I graduated, I was hitchhiking. I hitchhiked till the north. That was the like first time getting out of my comfort zone. But I've done two bike rides to Ladakh as well. So yeah, pretty cool. Atul, you want to share about your current solo trip?
Oh yeah, I think for me it was a major change of perspective. I think for the longest time, life has been pretty much about optimizing for time. So like you wake up in the morning, you're like, okay, I have to fit in the gym, workout, and any socializing in the same hours. So I think for me, this journey has been like since the past 7, 8 years, I've been optimizing just to make the best out of my time. And for me, it was a learning and unlearning experience when I went to the solo that this is the place that you have time to yourself and you don't have to optimize. So I think that was a very hard change to bring in, but I think that is something I want to build further on. Like I don't want to optimize for time anymore. I just want to like absorb, live, do a couple of those things. So yeah, that's for the next phase.
Perfect. That's good, man. I'll just take this call from Srinu.
Sure. What's up, Rohit sir? How's life going?
All good, all good. All good.
What's the latest adventure?
Nothing. Nothing new. I have something news, but I'll share you in person.
That's why you always have something new.
Yes. I know you are going to tell that to me. ये बोलोगे जैसे लग गया था मुझे मतलब कुछ भी न्यूज़ देता हूँ तो बोलोगे जब भी ये लड़का आता है तो एक नया न्यूज़ रहता है इसके पास
Hey Sabir, bro, your camera is off. How come?
भाई अभी नहा के निकला I'm just I'm just getting ready.
ये देखो बिल्ड वन वाले ऐसे कर रहे हैं देखो भाई
No worries, man. Take your time. We have done this in the past. I remember we took like a 30 minutes
Yeah.
figuring out stuff. But it's fine.
Your scene was.
Yeah, but guys, one day we'll understand how to stream properly.
Yeah.
You should tell Malik to start from now after we finish the screen.
I think Malik started like 2 minutes earlier than us. I think we have lives in front. So, yeah. Well, like I said, like we haven't set a bar too high in this community for live stream, so we're good. Don't worry. But I think till then, Mayank, what do you do? Where are you from?
I'm a motion designer, freelance, and I'm from Lucknow currently. I'm trying to shift to either Pune or Bangalore, but that doesn't seem possible for now.
Nice. How long have you been designing for?
I've been designing for 4 years now. I think at least I'm doing motion design for 4 years, and I recently like since past 2 years I've been trying to get into UI design,
Okay.
but yeah, still my motion design is my main thing.
Nice. And you have always been freelancing?
Yeah, because I just graduated like 2 months ago, and my college didn't allow full-time jobs, so pretty
Wait
much was
a second.
all I
You
had.
have been into motion design for 4 years, but you graduated recently.
Yeah, I've been motion designing since first year of my college.
Yeah. So, talent, bro. That's nice. And all the best. I wish you the best in your lookout. And I think you have two recruiters right here. So do network with them.
Of course.
Great. What about you, Aman?
So I'm currently in my final year of college, and I've been in product design for around 2.5 years. And currently, I'm doing an internship as a product designer at Bridge Athletic, which is a US-based company in like fitness domain. And yeah, that's been like I have done a couple of internships around 4 before this. And yeah, this is about it. And I joined Build 2.0 after, of course, like talking with Rohit. And yeah, that's been a great journey till now. And I'm grateful that I have been till the last week. And yeah, that's it.
It's crazy, bro. And
Yeah.
I think with your experience of interning with Indian companies and like currently
Yeah.
with the US-based company, like what is the difference that you've found so far?
Yeah, so earlier, like the 4 startups, they were very early startups. So, like where I worked in India, so it was kind of I was the sole designer at most places, and at one place it was other than me there was one designer. But so that was one thing. I didn't had any experience of working with more designers. It was all about me, and the people were very energetic. But yeah, there was no such structure kind of thing. जो मेरे मन में आ रहा है मैं थोड़ा बहुत एक क्वेश्चनिंग कर रहा हूँ मुझे भी कभी कभी रहता है कि हाँ ये मैं सही भी कर रहा हूँ कि नहीं बट हाँ इट वॉज गोइंग ऑन बट करंटली लाइक एट ब्रिज एथलेटिक इट इज अ वेरी वेल एस्टेब्लिश्ड टीम एंड थोड़ा देर इज अ स्ट्रक्चर एंड ऑफ कोर्स देर इज अ मेंटरशिप एज वेल तो वो एक अलग साइड है एंड दैट इज ग्रेट कंपेरेटिव वर्किंग स्ट्रक्चर में आई थिंक यूएस वाली कंपनी थोड़ी ज्यादा इट हैज अ स्ट्रक्चर काइंड ऑफ थिंग एक एस्टेब्लिश्ड ऑर्डर है बट इंडिया में मतलब स्टार्टअप में कुछ ऐसा ऐसा कुछ नहीं है चल रहा है कि भाई कभी डिजाइन का मतलब ऐसे यूआई स्पेसिफिक नहीं है जितना मैंने ऑब्जर्व किया बट या
Right.
दैट्स बीन लाइक माय एक्सपीरियंस टिल
Gotcha. Man, I hope you enjoy this. It's nice.
या दैट इज लाइक समथिंग जब मैंने देखा कि एचआर वाले लोग आ रहे हैं तो मैं तो भैया ये तो पक्का ज्वाइन करना है
Or they take offense, don't call them HR, call them talent acquisition people, bro.
I was just
सॉरी
going to say that. I was just going to say
सॉरी
that.
Dude,
सॉरी
I was just saying, bro.
Bro, we just
सॉरी
had a
टैलेंट
Rangoli
टैलेंट
wala
एक्विजिशन
meme.
Dude,
This HR will be
it's like
Rangoli.
calling a product designer like a motion designer.
ओके नाउ आई
Okay,
गॉट द
over to you guys. Go for it.
Ouch.
Cool, cool, guys. Sorry about this technical issues from our end, but let's start again. I'm just going to share my screen.
Yes, we are back on track, guys.
Finally. So yes, I mean to start again, as we mentioned earlier, we are of course here to bust the myth behind recruiters and what our thought processes are when it comes to design hiring per se. Um, the next one is yes, what do we do? Of course, we don't make rangoli, which I think one of our beloved guests mentioned. But our main job, of course, is to
Get
hire
people
people.
who make rangolis on our apps.
Yes, exactly, right. So that's what we do as a whole. Now, yes, as I mentioned, we are here on Sunday because we don't have a job to do. This is our main thing, to hunt people, to get people on board, and we're just going to help us and start a journey, start a story about candidates in general, and this is where we are.
Cool. As I mentioned right earlier, we're going to tell you a story about what happens when you apply for a job on LinkedIn. So, a recruiter posts a job on LinkedIn. What happens next? A recruiter receives like 5K applications, and that's a reality. Okay. Um, I don't know how many of you guys follow Cred on LinkedIn, but a few weeks back, I posted a job on LinkedIn for a product designer role. I got something around 800 profiles, and then the nightmare starts. I have to go through 100 profiles.
Yeah. So to give you my brief as well, I work for a company called Slice, and when I started the job on LinkedIn, I ended up getting around 600, 700 applications over the weekend. So you see what we have to go through when we open a job.
Cool. Once the screening process starts, what happens? Like, let's say we open profile number one, and damn, we see the LinkedIn is not updated in that profile. Uh, we're like, okay, cool. We move forward. We see what happens next. Opens profile
Correct.
number two. CV is not attached. Like, I kid you not, I'm pretty sure Shrinu has this experience as well. There have been times when I'm screening profiles and I have seen random rental agreements. I have seen I,
Yes.
I have seen blood report. I have seen
Marriage certificates.
adoption papers of a pet. Like that's the thing we are dealing with every day. Like, come on, please apply, attach your CV. There have been times when CV don't open because a lot of folks will send their CV in some random format, like some random format which I have never heard about or I've never even come across. Now, coming to the main part, right? Like, not ATS proof. Like, what do we mean by not ATS proof? So, to give you a background, ATS basically means application tracking system. So, there is a database where when you apply for a job, like everything goes into that database. So, all your, let's say, your name, your email ID, your contact details, everything goes there. But if you apply there through, okay, so one of the major thing about ATS is the ATS is going to parse through your entire resume and give me all the important links and details about your profile. But this happens very much in the design community with the design folks when we are hiring, that their profile only don't get parsed. Do you know why? Because they most of the designers will send their resume either in a JPJ format or .png format. So the ATS can't read that. So now I have to go back and see that profile, or maybe try to call that candidate separately. Like, imagine 800, I have 800 candidates and I have to do this for at least 50, 60. Do I have that time? I don't know. So, one solution, what I can think about here is a lot of folks share their resume in PDF format. PDF is like the best thing. Like, all the ATS will read PDF files like top notch. So
Yep.
cool. I move forward. I open profile number 5, and wow, the CV opens up.
And once you open the CV, of course, as you know, right, we're getting like 600, 700 different applications, every job posting. What we do, of course, we want to skim through the profiles. We don't have a lot of time, and we have to close the position soon as well. So once we go through the profile, the first thing if you see is that there's uneven spacing, just like how it is here. That's an absolute turn off when it comes to designers, especially, right? Because it's their, in a way, a job to ensure that the application is well spaced, they have good fonts, like I mentioned, weird fonts as well, right? Grammatical errors, grammatical errors. So that's one of the reasons why I mentioned it. Spelling mistakes like that, right? And yeah, some of them have date of birth, marital status. Yeah, हम क्या करेंगे वो CV में, right? It doesn't make sense for us. We don't even look at all those aspects there, right? And a lot of people, yeah, I think कॉलेज में तो यार सीवी बनाना सिखाते हैं तो दिखाते हैं कि यार ऑब्जेक्टिव लिखना चाहिए, हेडलाइन लिखना चाहिए सब. यार आई एम पैशनेट डिजाइन प्रोफेशनल से कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता. We don't even look at that section at all, right? Now, of course, we'll tell you what are the major sections on a CV and why, what all we look in the first glance as a recruiter, right? But
Yeah.
for us, the biggest turn off on a CV is when the portfolio is not clickable. Like, yeah, portfolio is the major thing that all recruiters, all hiring managers, everyone looks at, right? जब वो clickable नहीं होता तो फिर यार we just don't even look at the profile, we just move forward from there, right? So this is what it is. Average.
Cool. So what are the some few things that should be there on a CV? So I'll tell you a small story. I always catch up with my hiring team, like with my panels. I catch up with I'm sure you folks know Vittal, Nandani. I try to learn from them. How do I study a portfolio, or what should be the things that I see? So Nandini told me this very interesting thing is, Rich, your first thing is to see how do a designer present their resume. So, like, the resume needs to be in a very uniform and presentable way, because that's where we start judging you as a designer. Like, acha, how's the font? Is the resume too colorful? What are the colorways they are using? Is it too tacky? So we try to understand, to see all of it. Of course, name and contact details should be correct. There have been some times where the portfolio has been amazing, but I can't reach out to that person because number is wrong there. Also, very important thing is to mention the impact of your work on your CV. Like, write what you have done, like any projects that you have worked on, or any features that you have built, or anything out of the box that you have done. Just write about it, and also write the impact. Try to put in more numbers. It's a number game in the end, because at the end of the day, in a startup world, that I can talk about is we try to see the folks who have good and strong business acumen. They can understand the business, they know the product. And how would they know a business if they know numbers? So try to put more importance there. Also, do mention like what companies you work and the tenure you have worked, very very clear. So it helps us also to understand your experience within that company. One thing that you should not do, again, like something that I would mention, is don't write about your company, right? Like let's say someone is working for Misho or Udan. I can definitely go back and check what Misho or Udan does. Like you don't need to write that on your resume just to fill up the spaces. I would rather have empty spaces there than you writing that. And coming to the most important part, clickable portfolio links. That's all we ask.
And that's the most important thing. Yeah.
Yes. Now we would want to talk a little bit about portfolio presentation, because portfolio, like let's say for a designer, in my opinion, 40 to 45% is your resume, but then the rest is your portfolio.
Absolutely, absolutely. So just to take it from there, as recruiters, what we also come across is a lot of people, make the series, make their portfolios password protected, right? काफी सारे लोग they don't even mention कि password क्या है and so on. The thought is pretty simple. Yeah, if of course we also understand that a lot of people have their portfolios which are on NDA and so on, right? Uh, NDA जो वाली है, we of course when we talk to the candidates, we let them know that NDA जो projects है, you can showcase that during the first call and intro call जो भी है. But if you want to showcase your work to the world, it's important that you showcase the best that you can, which is not NDA, right? So if you're showing that, what is the use of making it password protected in the first place? That's like double work for a recruiter. And when we have so many profiles at the same time, it becomes very very difficult for us to make the efforts to do that at the same time. ये भी है कि बहुत सारे जो स्टार्टअप्स है कंपनीज है दे माइट हैव ओनली 2 or 3 मैक्सिमम रिक्रूटर्स ये तो क्रेजी से मैं बता रहा हूँ मैं जहाँ पे 2-3 रिक्रूटर्स है जो डिजाइन में फोकस करते हैं सो इतने कम लोग इतने सारे सीवीज इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर अस टू कवर एवरीथिंग एट द सेम टाइम राइट सो you guys should make it as easy as possible for the recruiters so that we can spend time in understanding the CV and the portfolio at the same time right other thing that people do mention is coming soon projects क्या करें हम लोग कमिंग सून प्रोजेक्ट से राइट इट्स नॉट गोइंग टू अफेक्ट अस वी जस्ट केयर अबाउट व्हाट इज देयर इन द प्रेजेंट एंड व्हाट इज देयर इन द पास्ट उन्होंने क्या क्या किया एंड व्हाट इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग्स देयर राइट कमिंग सून इज नॉट गोइंग टू हेल्प अस इन एनी वे एंड इट डजंट मेक सेंस टू टेक अप दैट स्पेस एंड the presentation might just go for a toss if that is also there right taking up space there so yeah, that's what it is. And the other major thing is keep portfolio being both mobile as well as desktop friendly. A lot of people do make the portfolio in such a way that it's very well seen on Mac and Windows and so on, and काफी अच्छे से presentable है. But जब mobile application या फिर mobile में जब open करते हैं तो it doesn't look that great, and that is a bit of a problem because a lot of people do check out these portfolios on mobile to understand how well the person is in terms of keeping it in both these areas as such, right? So it's important that you have to cross check and see if it's good on mobile as well as on desktop at the same time. Rich.
Yes. So a lot of times, right, like when folks send out a portfolio, they will send it out in random Google Drives, PPTs, JPJs. Like that's a complete no-no. Like my design team for sure have told me, "Ki, Rich, don't even entertain those things. Like, don't even look into it." So, like, I just want to share it out there. Like, please don't do that. But what would be the acceptable way? Dribble, Notion, Medium, Behance. If you have your own website, well and great. Try to share this on those mediums. There was one question that someone asked is, "Oh, do you look at the views on Dribble or Behance?" We do look at it, but that is not the only way. That's not the only reason. We don't create any bias when we are judging a particular portfolio. Very important next part, avoid Figma for recruiters. I'll tell you why. Okay, so all the designers here, I'm pretty sure you guys use high-end computers and laptops and systems. For a recruiter, we don't need to use such high-end computers. We use very very normal Dell or like system. So when you are sending us a Figma, when you are sending us something on Figma, my laptop, there has been times when my laptop has started making sound when I opened a Figma file. And, and I was like, आज तो फुटने वाला है पूरा. But yeah, try to avoid Figma as much as possible for recruiters.
Yeah, and
Uniform,
funny thing, and actually, sorry to disturb.
yeah,
The
sorry.
funny thing here is, Rich, we made this presentation on Figma, and you see what is already happening now.
Yeah, 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 exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, uniformity throughout your profile, that is something what we look at, like the way you have started it, the way you're presenting your portfolio. Also, I remember one of the chat with having with Vittal. Vittal told me that he was just showing me a portfolio which is very text heavy and a portfolio which is not text heavy, and the difference it made, like I could see myself, like what happens when there is a lot more visuals. You are trying to explain your portfolio through visuals rather than keeping a lot of text. Believe me, nobody read text nowadays. I will read a text if it is two liners or three liners, but definitely if you are sending me a paragraph, नहीं यार 800 प्रोफाइल है स्क्रीन करने के लिए. Too many whiteboard pictures, unnecessary flow to fill up the spaces. So yeah, I come across, okay, this is something very particular to freshers when they are making their portfolios. There is some very some random animation and some scrolls that will happen. Like, and believe me, I would rather request you to keep it simple than make it with all that jazz. If I mean, I'm all up for you making your portfolio fancy, but you should also see the end user, the output अच्छा होना चाहिए, right? So yeah, this has few things around portfolios, around around your CVs, what you should do. So what do you guys think now?
Yeah. So to just to conclude on that aspect, right? It's very simple. Although we recruiters, of course, we understand design. We sit with the design team and we figure out different aspects of it. We try to be the best judge possible through us. Do consider us as the average customers that you have in the market, and make a presentation according to that. For example, if someone downloads the app of your particular company, right? If I see कि बहुत खिचड़ी है, ठीक से present नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है, the first thing that I do is delete it. I don't even go further than that, right? Simple as that. Portfolio also should be very minimalistic, very clear, very crisp, and that's the most important thing for us, because that will also give us an understanding and idea. Okay, this person looks at the things in this particular direction, right? And this probably is going to help the company in a lot of ways. That's how we as recruiters look at it at the same time. Now, moving on to the next one.
So,
Yeah.
so guys, I think we have told you a lot about recruiters, what we go through. So now, who is ready to become a recruiter? I think you
Yeah, I
guys
guess you
are
guys know a lot of things from our end already, and I think most of us can hire you guys as recruiters as well. So,
recruiter.
who's ready for
Done.
that?
We need good design recruiters, in the community. So yeah, we are all up for you guys to come join us.
Hey, no one
Yeah,
told me about the cross sell. What the hell?
Hey,
Nice, Amit. Loved the presentation. And great job, both of you guys. I think this was most fun presentation I've ever seen from a recruiter. So I think great job there. Uh,
hey,
some of the things that you said, I think you dropped some really amazing truth bombs as well. So I think some people got those insights. So I'm really happy that you guys did that. Something I remember, it's a very small. I think you guys mentioned about do people care about views on your project? Uh, I remember the early days of my college. I was in NIFT Bombay, and I used to make a lot of every project that I would do in college. I would upload it on Behance as well, and some of the projects would actually work out really well. Like I'll get a lot of likes. Actually, no, likes were very rare. A lot of views I would get. Again, I'm starting out. Designs kind of sucks, but I used to feel like if I share it with someone who's a potential employer, are they gonna judge me by seeing how much viewed my project is or how many likes do I have? And I always used to wonder that maybe it does affect, but it's great to know that it doesn't create any bias as such. But I think it's just something that does create I think it does strike a chord, I'm sure. But I'm glad it doesn't really make a difference in that.
yeah. I mean, see, the thing is, it's it's a social media thing, right? Where we of course live in a world where likes and views are very important. But when it comes to hiring people and for a job, that is not something that we look for. To be very honest with you, we look for relevancy, irrespective. For example, for cred, maybe a particular candidate is relevant, and for slice, it might not be relevant, right? That's because of the problem statements and the business needs and things around it. So we don't really care about the views and things around it. The most important thing is the person is the right fit for us or not, right? And the background also doesn't matter to us. I think, Rich and I thought it's important after the presentation to give you all an understanding of how the process works and how it works at Slice from my end and how it works for Cred, from Rich's end. To start with, right? As we mentioned, once we get the applications, once they're in the system, the first thing that I do as a recruiter is, of course, skim through the profiles, try to see the positives in that profile first. If everything works out well, if I like the profile and if I see that it is so, okay, a lot of people think yeah, job description ke sath se hum jate hain, no, which is not the case. Job description is there for the people to know that this is what we're looking for, and this is what we are, and this is what we do. But as recruiters, our job is to understand if the portfolio is in sync with what the company wants. We do not reject candidates just based on the fact that the person's portfolio is mediocre. But so for, let's just skip the profile. We see potential also in the portfolio, right? That's one of the things that we look for. Uh, Mainly, I'll tell you why. A lot of companies, especially the big companies that are there in the market, they give smaller projects to people, and exposure उतना ज़्यादा होता नहीं है for a lot of people, right? And you can't ask for this particular project, until you're in the system for a long time. That's why we know for a fact that a lot of people don't get the right exposure in a lot of ways, right? And we keep that into consideration when we look at portfolios and profiles. Our thing is very simple कि बंदा बंदी जो भी है प्रोफाइल में जितना काम दिया है कैसा किया है, what is the thought process behind it, what have they done there, उनका like the smallest of details, right? How they kind of write the profile, कितना crisp है, कितना कितना detailing किया है in such a way that even a layman can understand क्या है portfolio, right? That's more important for us. Now, once I look at the profile, once I like the profile, we send a bunch of profiles to the hiring manager, right? When we say hiring manager, it is not just a hiring manager who looks at it. There are people there's an entire team that looks at portfolios, right? So we get 5 to 6 different opinions on every profile that we send, right? And we take the average and we take it ahead. There have been so many cases and so many scenarios where we ended up, we were not very sure about this particular candidate because profile was sahi nahi tha. But when we spoke to the candidate, we realized, okay, the person has done a lot more and the person did not update the portfolio as such, right? So in such cases, we still give people a chance, and that person has joined us also, right? And he's done a wonderful job in the assignments and so on. So that's what it is. Once a hiring manager gets done and likes a particular profile, of course, as recruiters, we reach out to the candidate, we talk to them, we try to understand multiple aspects and see if it's the fitment for the company or not on the cultural side, right? Once we see that the culture side is also good, the person's happy to, for example, at Slice, we don't work remotely. We have work from office. So it's important that the person's based out of Gurgaon. A lot of people don't like coming to Bangalore from Gurgaon and NCR region in general. So we look at all those aspects to see, yaar, aap join karoge na, matlab you won't mind moving to Bangalore, right? So we look at all these basic, jo necessary cheezein hain, and then we start the process. Now, for a product designer specifically, what is the process for us, right? We have 3 major rounds. You're talking about level as a product designer, as a senior product designer, as a lead product designer. We have 3 major rounds. Your first round is going to be completely focused on your portfolio presentation, right? Showcase 1 or 2 of your best projects that you worked on, right? The best. Don't have to showcase everything that you have. You don't have enough time. 1 घंटे में you have probably 10-15 minutes जहाँ पे you're trying to understand each other as human beings. You try to know कि क्या background and all those things. And बाकी जो time है, that is where you get time to basically present your portfolio, right? So in the short time, it's important that you present the best possible presentation as possible, right? So 2 of your best projects that you worked on, you showcase that, right? And then walk them through everything. It's important that you do not leave out the important details as well as the not so important details according to you, because every detail is important, right? And the hiring manager will look at multiple aspects कि बंदे ने ये चीज किया है but क्यों किया है, right? If you don't know the thought process behind it, then it shows that you are not very much involved in that project, right? So it's important that you take care of that. That's the first round. Once you clear the first round, your second round is going to be, so a lot of companies. There's nothing against companies that are into assignments and so on. But we decided the best and the fastest way possible to hire product designers or designers in general is to not give them assignments, right? I think assignments से क्या होता है कि I mean, at a junior position, at a fresher position, sometimes yes, when we are not very sure about the person in the first round, we do give assignments, right, to prove their point. But in a lot of cases, we feel whiteboarding is the best way to take things ahead. काफी सारी चीजें you get to know in that one particular round itself. It's going to be a 1.5 hour round where you know the thought process of a person, you understand the problem solving skills, you understand how a person thinks in various ways, right? How they're good with tools, how they're good with the creatives and so on. So for us, when we look at a designer, we look at two different things, right? We have a tool operator and we have the creatives, right? These two aspects that you have, a tool operator is someone, of course, who's very, very strong in all the tools in design, right? And they're very, very good. They have a lot of years of experience and practice to do that, right? To be honest, whoever's passionate about design and who loves design will learn that in time, right? So we get to know ki kitna strong hai. So these guys, if we give them a problem statement to solve, right? We give them ki yeah, this is this. Can you just go ahead and implement it? These guys are very very good at doing that. We have the other section that we look for, which is the creatives. These guys, we tell them ki boss. For example, the founder says ki boss, I want this done. They come up with plans, they come up with different aspects and strategies behind it, right? Those are creatives, right? So we look at all these two factors, right? If you find someone who has the best of both, nothing like it, we found the perfect designer for us, right? But if we have someone who's very strong on one aspect, we still take them ahead because we know for a fact that they will learn with the right people around them, right? Because we're not just hiring one person, we're building a team, right? So it's important that everyone complements each other at the same time. And that's what we look for, especially in the second round, right? And that's usually taken by a person, maybe like the hiring manager or maybe the lead designer in the company, right? That's how it's done. The third round is basically someone at the head level who looks at the overall fitment, right? Stakeholder management, team player, right? How the person is able to gel with the team. There might be amazing designers, but they might not fit the culture of the company in a lot of cases, right? And that's okay. Everybody works differently, right? And that's how it is. So we look at all those aspects as a hiring manager, right? And that's the most important thing for them. And they see are how much the person is willing to learn if they don't know some aspects of it, right? This is not technical round. It's more to do with whether the person could fit in the entire ecosystem of the company and the team at the same time, right? And that's how the third round goes. And the fourth round, depending on the level, we either have it with the founder or we have it with the CEO of the company or one of the HR heads or HR leads take the call then, right? And that's more of cultural fitment. Since you usually it's a case where the recruiter that you first spoke to might not be the person that you'll be speaking to, but in a lot of cases they do. For example, in my case, I talk to the person in the first go, but I also talk to the person in the HR, right? And I try to understand them more now because since they've gone through all the rounds, it's important for me to know whether this person, it's not just about the company wanting the person. It's second is also about the fact that the person is whether the person is inclined towards the company and the people that they'll be joining or not. Because in the end, it's going to be a second home, right? You spend close to 10 to 12 hours in a company. That's like half your day gone there itself, right? So, and 5 days a week. So you get what I'm saying. So it's important that the person's aligned. So what I do as an HR is to understand whether this person enjoyed the conversations, whether the person likes the team or the company or not. And as a recruiter, the thing that I look for most in any candidate is transparency. That is all I look for. We as recruiters don't have the rights to tell people to join us or to tell us, yeah, you have to join the company. There's no other option. You already clear all the rounds. You wasted our time. Those are very very wrong things to say, right? A person chooses what is best for them when they might have multiple options at the same time and they'll choose what is best for them because they have to spend, like I said, half a day in that particular company, right? So when as a recruiter I look for transparency, क्या starting से finish तक just be transparent कि whether you want to you like the company, you like the role, you like everyone, whether this is the right thing for you or not, right? And from there on we start the conversation around compensation, about other aspects, relocation, and all those things. Those are a different thing altogether. If there is a sync there, right? If that we feel that the person is inclined, the person is not inclined. If I feel that person's expectation is high in terms of the company role and everything, right? And if I feel that the person is too good for the company. There have been cases also where the person has been like, he's done a much bigger charter, and they're getting to do a very small thing, right? I discuss with the hiring manager and tell them, hey, I would like to be as open as possible with the candidate. This is what they're getting into. If they're okay, please join. If they're not okay, please don't join. Right? It's as simple as that. Because it's rather that you tell them in the beginning than them joining, feeling disappointed, and leaving the company in the next 2 3 months. Right? That's a worse impact, right? And you're not leaving a good impression on the candidate, and the candidate experience is also not that great. So we ensure we do that, right? And that's important for us. And once, of course, everything is done, we, of course, offer acceptance जो भी होती है, offer acceptance हुआ, तो serving notice period में we ensure that we call them down for our meetings. Sometimes we ensure that they get included in the team, they talk to the team, understand how things work out, and of course, they can meet everyone and anyone in the company, not just the design team. They will talk to the product managers, they will talk to the CTO sometimes, they will talk to the engineering managers, because in the end, collaboration है पूरी, right? And it's important that you guys work together. Now, this is for product designer. Just to sum it up, for visual designers, motion graphics designers, and 3D artists and so on, we mandatorily will have to have an assignment round for them, because it's important in their field of work where the visuals are kind of shown the kind of problem statement that we have in the company at the same time. So usually उनका round और कम होता है, where your first round is going to be an introductory round, second round is going to be a presentation, in fact your assignment, and the third round is a discussion on the assignment that you've done, and we close the question there. And yeah, this is what it is about Slice. We will have a Q&A session after Rich gets done, so you can ask your question. Yeah.
That was like super detailed, man. Cool. Okay, cool. I think I'll I'm not gonna go so detailed, but I'll give a good flow. I'm gonna give a BTS what happens, right? Like with how do we go about? Let's say I have now 5,000 profiles. The initial steps are same. I'm going to go through the profiles. I'm going to check for the portfolios. Majorly in the portfolios, I'm going to look around the way they have presented the portfolio, uh, how neat it is, clutter free. How easy for me was it to navigate through the portfolio? That is something I'm gonna look around, and if I like, I'm gonna take this portfolio to my team, and we have a WhatsApp group which Atul knows about, where we share the portfolio. And same, like there's not just one person who's taking a call. There's a team of folks who is going to look through the profile and um share their opinions. So that is one of the another reason why we brought it up earlier, that make your portfolio desktop plus mobile friendly, because a lot of time your profiles are being shared in such WhatsApp groups where you're discussing. And I'm going to open your portfolio, or let's say one of the hiring managers is going to open your portfolio on their phone. So that's the reason we said just keep it mobile plus desktop friendly. So yeah, post we do that. Let's say if everything clicks, everyone likes the profile. Now we are going to go, now I will speak with the candidate. Now my discussion with the candidate is going to be very much detailed. I would want to understand their push factor, their pull factor, the cred factor, like why do they want to join us, why are they leaving, why cred. I'm going to deep dive into their projects that they have worked on. I'm going to try to understand how many folks were involved in their projects. I make sure to ask this question, like, what is the impact that you have created? It gives me a good idea to know whether this person knows business or not. If the person is good with business, with numbers, they're going to share the impact. They will be very much aware. They will be very much aware, like what's the company is doing, how's the team doing. That is something. This is something I generally speak about during my discussion. And if I feel, oh, this person is the fit and will click with the team, I'm going to start with an explore discussion. So the explore discussion is majorly with the hiring manager. That is to understand your aspirations, whether this role, what I'm thinking about or what we are thinking about, would be the right fit. What would be what will be they doing in their day-to-day task here in cred? Because we don't want to waste time of anyone. Like that's a major thing. Like let's say we concluded all the discussions, IL call aa gaya, and then we are like, oh, we don't have so much work for this person, or like this person will not be the right fit. So we don't want to waste time, neither yours, neither of us. So this is where we take the call whether we want to go forward with the candidate or not during the explore. Now moving forward, we don't have an assignment again. We don't believe in assignments. So that is, Shinu, that is something I also did not know about Slice, but yeah, good that we resonate on that thought. Also, we have 3 rounds of discussions. Each round of discussions is different. Uh, for an organization like Cred, Cred, all the discussions are aligned with our values. So Cred has some certain values that we live by. So you will see the competencies that we assess are very much aligned to the values. So, and this is something that we take very seriously. So, I'm going to go step by step, like what do we assess in each round. So, starting with the first round, we are going to talk about your portfolio, your past work. Uh, Through your portfolio, we are going trying to understand your design skills, your let's say your design skills, your layouting, typography, visual designs. We are going to try to understand all those things. What projects have you worked on? What has been your contribution towards the project? And that is going how have you solved problems, communication skills, and yeah, this is something that we checked in round one. Moving forward to round two, in round two, we are going to assess majorly on stakeholder management because here in Cred, you are working with a lot of different teams. We want to understand your cross team collaboration, like your communication with stakeholders, customer obsession. We want to understand your business acumen over here. We want to understand do you understand the product? Do you understand the customers that you will be serving or you will be working for? This is something majorly that happens in round two. Round three is with the hiring manager. The hiring manager is going to deep dive majorly to understand you as a person. Are you fitting within the team? A lot of situational questions are going to be asked during this round. This round is a lot of introspective questions that is going to make you think. Like I remember my interview during my interview, like I had to take like a 5 minutes pause for every question, think about it detailed, and then structure my thoughts and then give it out to the hiring manager. So this is the 3 rounds that we go through. We do not have any HR rounds. We don't involve the talent and culture team in any discussion. Srinu. But yeah, this is how we go about. Then again, then the post offer engagement, like the the offer discussion and all that jazz. Once the offer discussion is done, they accept it. I think most of you will be aware that Cred sends out the laptop right after they accepts the offer. Then we start with the post offer engagement. They'll be coming down to the office, meeting the team, and that's all. Like well and good. That's how we roll in Cred. And this is something similar for all the roles, okay, in Cred. I'm not just talking about product design. This is something similar for all the even other roles, visual design, motion design, Cred. I'm not even going to like other technical roles, but yeah, talking just about design, this is how we go about.
Yeah, and to continue from there, we of course only specifically mentioned about two companies, but 90% of the companies in the market do the same thing, right? And it's what happens in, like I said, the new age startups especially, you'll see this happening. A lot of people are moving away from assignments and giving whiteboarding challenges and things around that, right? So yeah.
Mhm. Cool. Guys, we I was just going across Discord yesterday, and we came across some cool questions that people have asked. So Shino and I have just noted down some of the questions that we want to address, and we'll talk about it for sure. I think a lot of folks on the call must have their own questions. We'll address that as well. But to begin with, we wanted to kickstart the Q&A with these questions. So, going first, someone asked, are there specific types of projects or case studies that you find most valuable in a portfolio? Example, like redesigns or building a new app from scratch, which is more preferred? Shinu, you want to take it up?
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, I think one of the points that I mentioned also on the call is that a lot of people do get exposure and a lot of people don't get exposure, right? It completely depends on the luck in a lot of ways, right? And I think it's very unfair if a company or a recruiter goes by the fact that the person got a chance to redesign the thing or build something from scratch, right? A lot of people don't get that opportunity to do it. So we keep that in mind and we ensure that when we look at profiles, we don't look at those aspects. Like I said, right, we've already mentioned the do's in a particular portfolio. That's what we look at. We look at bande ne kaisa banda bandi jo bhi hai, how have they kind of made it, right? How crisp is it? How beautifully made it is, right? And how uniform it is. That's what we look for in this. So it doesn't matter if it's redesigned or building from scratch.
Yes. Cool. I'll go to the next question. I think this is a little generic question that I want to take it up. What does the industry expects openly from an applicant? Because I have applied to 70 plus companies, but still did not even get shortlisted for a single interview from any of the companies. Just receiving only rejected mails or no reply from the companies. It's so damn frustrating. I can, Sushil, I'll take this up. I completely understand what you're going through. I come across a lot of folks who tell me the same. But I'll tell you a small story here. Okay, during World War II, there were two different. Okay, context. I'm a history graduate, so so this is what we learned during World War II. There was a difference between American soldiers and Russian soldiers. American soldiers had a lot of weapons, a lot of bullets. Russian soldiers did not have a lot. So you know what did American soldiers used to do? American soldiers used to just fire in the air. मतलब 10 गोली मारा 5 तो लगने ही वाला है. There was the probability game. But Russian soldiers were very precise. They used to look at the target very carefully and then fire the bullet. And they used to make sure that each bullet counts. So what I'm trying to say over here is don't go with the probability game कि मतलब मैंने 70 companies apply किया एक ना कोई तो reply करने वाला है. I would rather request you be more personalized. Let's say top three companies that you want to work is Swiggy, Misho, Udaan. I would request you connect with the designers there, connect with the people over there. Try to understand what work are they doing. Try to figure out what sort of projects are they working on. Are you aligned with that kind of work? Do you want to work? Do you want to do that kind of work? Ask yourself. Then, if that is the case, then request those people that if there is a role open for you in that company. Networking for anyone. So this question, I think this person who asked was a fresher. For a fresher, the most important thing is networking. Like, of course, for you, scaling your skills is equally important. But if you do not network early in your career, you are going to miss out on a lot of things. So, and this community that Atul have started is amazing. Like the way I was just reading the messages, the way you guys are like networking with one another, the way there was someone who shared their portfolio and someone was reviewing that portfolio. Like that's amazing. If you are a part of this community, leverage this community, use this community, like to go forward, right? And be more personalized. I would say rather than going to 70 plus companies, go to top five companies that you want to work. अगर उधर भी click नहीं हुआ, then change of strategy. Strategize the way you are looking out.
Rich, that reminded me there's a person, I forgot, I think Atul also might know, some motion designer who applied to Cred, but when he applied, he ensured that he made the motion in like complete Cred case. Man. I forgot who that was.
Avkash. He's the
Avkash.
lead one.
Yeah, that's so cool, man. I mean, that's what you call personalized, right? That's anyone would be impressed, at least to give them the first chance to talk to people.
Yes. Cool.
Yeah,
I hope.
actually,
Yeah.
I think it has
Sorry.
been more than a year for him. And I think that thing really worked for him. And I think a lot of people took clues from that. I think since then, Cred and a lot of other companies have started receiving very personalized videos and portfolios for that. I think one made for Swiggy as well. That person is, I think, working for Front Row right now. I think so. One thing that's for sure is if you showcase your talent, it works out. If not for that company, there are so many people after you. I think one of them definitely clicks eventually.
Yeah.
Trendsetter. Super.
Cool. We'll move to the next question. This is more design specific. So, what are the top three things you look for in a portfolio and case study at first glance?
So, shall I take
Yes,
this?
Christine, please go ahead.
So, I mean, um, I of course did mention the do's and don'ts in our presentation, but the first thing when I look at our presentation, of course, is the visuals automatically. कोई read नहीं करता पहले visuals देखते हैं. So I see uniformity कितना है, fonts कैसा है, spacing कैसा है. I look at मतलब like the tiniest of details when you see that, right? You should know कि यार मतलब okay, like there's so such good spacing. This is so good to see, like good to the eye, right? We gotta look at those aspects first. Then I, of course, from there, if they have a case study, for example, right? I read the case study. If the person's written a lot, I don't end up reading it because you get bored after a point of time. It should show in your flow charts, in your flows, in the pictures, as well as on text. It should be very crisp and precise, right? काफी लोग ऐसे क्या करते हैं कि, for example, if someone's building a payment system, and they are doing some research. उन्होंने बहुत कुछ लिखा research किया, मैंने ये किया, मैंने वो किया, मैंने वो, all those things, right? And in the end, they figure out कि and they wanted to figure out basically कि drops क्यों हो रहा है, in a particular section. They've noticed that a person, like the customers are dropping out a lot after reaching that particular. For example, it could be like getting the PAN card or an Aadhaar card, right? A lot of people are. So we want to know कि what is the end result. I don't want to know कि तूने और आपने research करके you figure out कि अच्छा ये है, right? I want to know exactly what the person did behind the scenes to figure out that this is what it is, right? And I want numbers mentioned there. That's very, very important because those are things that gets highlighted in a particular CV or a portfolio and so on, right? So that's what I look for in in a case study and portfolio in general. Yeah.
Perfect. We'll go to another question. How do hiring managers find a unique designer that stands out from the crowd? Cool. I'll take this up. So, just to again, since we are myth busting myths here, it is not the hiring manager who takes the call. It's a team who takes the call. And so, after all the discussions is done, there is something called as a debrief. So, what exactly happens in a debrief is we are going to all the panels that you spoke to are going to be a part of this call along with the recruiter and the hiring manager, everyone. So, they are going to discuss what were the pros, what were the cons, about your profile, the way when I say profile, I mean about yourself. How did you present yourself during the discussions? We are going to see how did you fare against particular competencies, against our values, what projects you will be working on, whether you will be the right fit for this project or not. We will be looking into that as well. We are also going to see how have you vibed with the team, like. There is a very subtle undertone of vibe check that happens with all the with all the interviews. I feel when it comes to design, not just in cred, but most of the places, there's a very subtle vibe check that happens. So we want to see like, do you match with the wavelength of the team? Will you be settling in? So all this is going to be taken into consideration. It is not just the hiring manager, and also recruiter also will give a lot of insights, right? There are a lot of times when I see there are few people, they're just interviewing with us, but they're not inclined to join us. So I'm gonna give that also as a note to the hiring manager that hey, मेरे को sort of feeling I just got some a gut intention that this person is not very inclined. This person might take our offer and go somewhere, might go to shop somewhere else. So that is also something that I'm gonna bring it up. If but on the brighter side, if I feel that oh this person is so good, like so inclined towards credit, this person has like made projects. This person has made your portfolio personalized just for credit. I'm definitely going to put a good word during the debrief because that matters a lot. So there's a lot of things that happen before taking a hire call, right? Like it is not just the hiring manager. There's the entire team that is a part of it. Yes, cool. Let's see if we have any other questions. Okay, there's another question. Having a website or a plus point, is having a website a plus point, or does Notion does the job?
No, I mean it doesn't matter to us. If you have a website, great, good, but it's the content that is more important for us. Doesn't matter what medium it comes from. So Behance, Dribble, website, Notion, Medium, anything works for us. Shouldn't
Yes,
matter.
anything works except for just don't send PPTs.
Yeah, don't send PPTs and Dropbox links and all those things, right? That's not what we look for. And I'll tell you what. as I said, there are so many profiles. The first page is so important. The first page that a recruiter sees and we're impressed, matlab, we are definitely looking further.
Yeah.
Ensure that you do that, right? A lot of people write a lot of kachra which is not even needed, not needed at all, because we're not going to read it, right? It has to be visually pleasing at the same time.
So one interesting thing, right? Like during our presentation, we mentioned that like nobody reads your objectives or like headlines, whatever you have written. There is like we know for a fact that you have used ChatGPT for it. Okay, we know that. But I came across a profile recently, not in design, but this is when I was hiring for a credit risk analyst. This person used a movie dialogue from The Big Short, the Big Short movie, and I was like impressed. I was like, dude, I want to get this guy. Like, okay, want would be too much. I was like, I want to talk to this guy at least. So yeah, I mean, you can use your creativity infinitely. Like this person used movie dialogue to just catch my attention, and which it did in a very positive way. So the possibilities are endless when it comes to catching a recruiter's attention.
Nice.
Who
Um,
else?
are there
Yeah.
any questions that you guys are answering?
Yeah, I think that's mostly. I would, if there is any other questions from the folks on the call, we would love to take it.
Me, I was like, मैं फिर चले जाता हूँ. Dude, like I thought I do the Q&A. Genuinely useless. But I think you have been amazingly well prepared. And to be honest, I think this has been so insightful to know what happens behind the scenes. Like I think for now, for the longest time, even like me, Malik, Varina, we try so hard to help them understand how things work on this side of the place. And I think we try our best to give them all the insights possible in terms of how to do this. But what happens on the other end, I think they got to know it from one of the top design companies out there, what you guys go through when it reaches you. So I think we have successfully connected the dots in the whole thread together. So thank you so much for doing this. Um, I have a couple of like I was listening to you guys. I had a couple of things I wanted to ask for. Some of them would be a bit controversial, so just bear with me. But have you seen all those memes that people share a lot? That you know what, like talent acquisition people share these JDs and they say it's a beginner role, and niche they have like up to 3 years and all the rest of it. What is that all about? What's your take on that?
Raj, you
Shiva,
want
you
to
wanna-
start?
Oh, okay, cool. Uh, okay, I'll keep it crisp. I'll keep it crisp. So it depends companies by companies, organization by organization, right? Everywhere there are different levels. Everywhere there are different the kind of folks they are looking for. So I don't know what. So I have never worked in such companies, so I can't answer for it. But here in Cred, we look for us competencies and your skills are important to come for a role. Matlab, if you are like 3 4 years into your experience and you have done like some amazing jobs, even if it is a senior role within a team, we would love to take you on board if you have done that work, right? Like years of experience does not matter to us,
Not at all.
like
Yeah.
because this is something someone was telling me the other day that year in credit 1 year is equivalent to 3 years. So, and I'm pretty sure this is happening in other startups as well. So
100%. Yeah, yeah.
if you've done your work, well and good.
Yeah, we've got senior designers in the company who have 2 to 3 years experience, and we also have senior designers who have 10 years experience, right? So it doesn't matter. The years of experience doesn't matter at all for us. It's the amount of work that they were able to do in the previous companies, the exposure, a lot of things around that, where we go with designations and the kind of work that they'll be doing at the same time.
Yeah.
On JDs, we be as realistic as possible on them, but obviously, thoda bahut to masala to hota hi hai here or there, but yeah, that's what it is.
That's actually pretty interesting. So I think with ATS involved in all of these things, I think sometimes we keep on guiding these like people when they're starting out, they're looking for opportunities, and sometimes what happens is, let's say someone really wants to get into Swiggy. It's an amazing company, it's known for its design, right? But they're looking for something like mid-senior level, and this guy feels like, you know what, let me still give it a shot. Is there any way that ATS detects this before it reaches to that final pool?
Mm, not with cred. In cred, we go through each and every profiles.
Same. ADs do not. I mean, they'll of course mention the years of experience mentioned, but like I said, that's not a concern for us. The years of experience. If
Right.
the person's done some really good job, then that's more enough for us.
Got it. But are there companies which would actually apply that filter on CTS that anything that has less than this, just filter that out for
No,
me?
we don't do that.
No.
We don't do that. No.
I've never come across any companies who would do that.
Yeah. It's very important that we give everyone a chance, fair chance to apply, and then we take it from there. Simple as that.
Well, that's a good thing to note for everyone else here. One more thing I want to know. So at Designer, we try a lot of different product ideas to create something different, and there has always been this one question that is a bit different for the Indian recruitment community than others. Why do we not share the compensation of a role or a budget of a role upfront? And why does it always have to wait till the end of discussions?
To start from our end, we do mention that we mention the budget because parity is very important in the company, and if someone's outside the bracket, it doesn't make sense for us to take it ahead, right? At the higher level, that is right. So we let them know exactly what it is because in the end, it'll be a waste of time for us and even the particular person, right? But if there are exceptions, right? Of course, there are always going to be exceptions where someone is like too good for the level, right? And they're expensive. We still give them a chance to see how they perform so that we're happy to go above the budget sometimes, right? So it's a thin line, I would say, Atul, where we can't directly mention the exact numbers, but at the same time, we also have to be, sure that we don't lose out on people who are, much above the budget there, right? So that's what we do as a whole. But at the same time, it's important that we know the other person's compensation also, so that we are aware that okay, the person's in the budget or not. But if someone's not comfortable sharing it, we have no problem with that. We ask them what their expectations are and say their expectations match the budget or not.
Right.
Yeah. So Atul, I think your question is coming from the lines where on LinkedIn, a lot of foreign companies they put their budget, right? And why we don't. One use case what I can think about is if I'm gonna put my budget on LinkedIn and I got 800 profiles, I'm sure I'm gonna get 2,000 profiles.
Okay, I would say. but,
So
but
So
wait,
also, Atul, just to add to that, there is a bit of a difference between the people of a particular country. Be very honest with you, right? In countries, especially in the US and so on, offer shopping is not a major thing. It's very less percentage of people who do that. A lot of people apply to a particular company. They in the process they don't apply in multiple companies at the same time, right? But that is not the case in India, especially India and Southeast Asian countries, where there are a lot of people who apply to multiple companies, multiple opportunities, a lot of shopping, a lot of things happen.
also,
So
one thing that I can think about is when we mentioned that your compensation is confidential, uh, over there outside India, I've seen that it is actually confidential. People don't talk about it. But here in India, I'm pretty sure if you go and talk to our backend team, everyone knows one another compensation.
yeah. And it
So
actually starts from the university level because a lot of students know what is the base compensation given by a particular company when they come for campus. It starts from there.
yeah, it starts from there, and I mean, it just goes upward.
right. Sometimes we also hear people say stuff like, we don't have a cap on this compensation. Like, this is. But I don't think that is true in absolute sense because everything has a range, everything has a cap.
Correct. That, to be very honest with you, this is going to be like this for recruiters, but we say that to people who we feel are exceptional for us, where we don't want to stop the process with this person, right? And this is, of course, with the consent of the hiring manager that, hey, this person is going to be expensive for us. So are you going to be okay with that? And if they're open to it, we mention the same thing to the candidate.
Got it. Thank you so much for this insight. And very well dodged. I think I threw that whole Kung Fu Panda ball at you. You covered it really well. So good stuff, like good stuff. I think most of the questions that we will ask on the yeah, please go ahead.
Sorry, Sabir did mention a question on the chat. So,
Chat here,
yeah.
nice. Yeah, please go ahead, Sabir, bro. You can ask it in person.
Hi, Shinu, hi, Rich.
That's a very nice.
So my question is that is what is a red flag as a recruiter for a recruiter for people who are applying, right? So if I am an applicant and if I'm applying for a company, right, what are the red flags that I should look for in order to avoid something happening in the future. Like I might first thing would be I might not be happy over there, or maybe the organization is not the right fit for me, or the worst scenario that the organization doesn't work the way it is projecting itself to be. Right? This is also a case which happens. So, what are the red flags that you can help me or help everyone on the stream understand, so that they can sort of safeguard themselves from the beginning itself, and they can identify what they're going into, and then they can take a very thought through decision in terms of whether they want to go ahead with it or not. Yeah. So yeah, that's my question.
Rich, you want to
Yeah.
start or should I?
You can start. I'll pitch it.
Okay. To start with, right, if a recruiter is not proactive with you, that is the first sign that the person is not really inclined towards your profile, right? We of course as recruiters try to make it a point that we give ample amount of time to all the candidates, but that is not possible, right? So it's human tendency to give more priority to people who we know will be able to clear the process and know that the person will be able to hit the bar for us, right? So it's a natural human tendency for us to be inclined towards people there in that particular zone. So that could probably be a thing where you might understand, or like a gut feeling that okay, maybe this might not or might work, right? The second thing that I usually like I said, I expect transparency from a candidate. It's important that the recruiter is also equally transparent with the person, right? And we want to be as transparent as possible, and we will be as transparent as possible. For me, as a recruiter, the most difficult job of a recruiter for me, especially, is that when I have to say that the person is rejected, I have to call them up and tell them that hey, you've been rejected, and this is the this is the feedback, right? Because what happens is people are different. Some people might take it constructively, and some people might not take it constructively. So we have to sometimes make it cannot make it blunt and tell them, right? Some people we have a very good rapport and connection with. I can tell them on the face, ki boss, ye reason hai, unfortunately, and iske se, we have to shut this. But there are a lot of people who will take it, they'll say, and they'll pay, right? Because of which we also have to be very sure the way we kind of talk to them and make them understand those things. So it's also a thin line for us how we kind of communicate. But if a recruiter is transparent, you will get to know that the person is transparent. And I think that is the biggest green flag of a recruiter, I would say.
What I would say is start from the foundation, research about the company from Glassdoor, read about more the feedback from folks who have been working there or the folks who have interviewed there. That is your foundation to understand whether this company is a green flag or a red flag, or like coming to a recruiter's red flag. I think Srinu brought it up. First thing first, see the proactiveness of the recruiter. If the recruiter is not proactive, then I mean you should think twice. Also, the first thing first, when there is a recruiter discussion, you need to read between the lines. Like you need to understand, is this recruiter being transparent with me? Is this recruiter telling me everything about the role, or like let's say about the budget? Is there a transparency? So I think this is something, a skill that you will learn over time. This is not something that comes directly, right? So but yeah, I think most of the points Srinu has covered, how
Yeah.
to see a red flag in a recruiter.
Yeah, and also this one more thing, Sabir, a recruiter is the first point of contact of a company, right? They represent the company in a lot of ways, so it's important that that person who you're talking to may not be the right person, but you can't judge the company completely there. But it also gives you a culture of the company in a lot of ways, how they deal with certain situations and things around that. So I think Rich and I, we both make it a point as recruiters that even if someone's not suitable for us, right, and they're applying to us or they're messaging us on LinkedIn, we of course we don't get every day to do that, but we pick out a particular day, a spot to reply to everyone, right, and say, "Ki
Yeah.
boss, this is what it is," right,
So
and
So I don't know if anyone follows me on LinkedIn, but when I do reply to people, I put out a message on Friday night saying that, hey, I'm gonna be replying to all the inboxes over the weekend. So that's when I do it. Otherwise, because like every day there are like some 15, 20 emails that we are getting. We can't reply to you altogether. So we like try to block a day and try to reply to everyone. But even if someone applies to the company, right, to our ATS, if you are not selected, we do send out a rejection mail, and we do try to give out like why your profile. We are. I mean, if your portfolio got selected and then we spoke to you, we try to give you a feedback कि क्यों नहीं जा रहे, क्यों नहीं चल रहा है. Like even from even if you're done with first round or just an explore call, we try to have that communication and let you know.
Yeah,
Sorry, there
it
was
makes
something else.
sense. Yeah, totally. Because I think what Rich just said, I just want to add one point and I'm done. So what Rich said, I really resonate with that because, and also what Srinu said, because rejection can be, rejection is very personal. I believe it's how you take it. It depends on person to person. What's your threshold and how you are? Are you new to taking rejections, or you're like a veteran who's been taking rejection for a longer time? And how you deal with it, right? So I think this really helps because I personally have noticed that there are certain companies and there are certain HRs who go above and beyond. They like one of the HR that I've come across. They were like they asked for my WhatsApp number and they were very proactive on that. Even though I did not get selected for the company, but they were very very good with the update part of it, right? Like, hey, this is the next round. Maybe your next round will be coming from this week to this week. If you have any timings, just let me know so that we can schedule it right away. Otherwise, this slot will be gone. And then giving me constant updates before sending me an email, sharing me an update. Okay, this is the next one that will be going on, and this is what it will have, and this is what it is. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll be sending you a mail regarding this. And I think that really helps. And I think I totally get the answers. And thanks for answering my question. Cheers.
So, Sabir, it's so crazy sometimes, right? My connection with the candidate is so deep that when they get rejected, right, it's so difficult for me to tell them. I send them a message because I can't call them because I'm so disappointed to tell them that they're rejected. So it's not easy even on a recruiter, when we tell them, that they're rejected and so on.
So
So
over time, if I've learned something in this job, apart from everything, is one of the thing is how to say no to people.
Totally. But what I think, what Srinu said, yes, it becomes difficult. But I have a perspective where I see that if you share it with them, it's like ripping a band-aid. Yeah. If you rip it today or if you rip it tomorrow, it's going to hurt.
yeah,
So better you rip it
right,
and tell them why they're getting rejected so that they get a path where they can follow. Okay, they said, hey,
100%.
my portfolio didn't work here. Maybe I was missing out on something. Maybe I can work on this. So it'll give you positive reinforcement in the next time that they apply. They say that, hey, Srinu, there are certain points that you mentioned. I've worked
Correct.
on, maybe you want to check it out again. So
Correct. So when I share feedback to candidates and tell them the exact feedback so that they can use it for the other companies that they're interviewing at the same time, right? And it'll help them. They might get selected. So yeah.
I think we can take one last question, right? Like Theria has mentioned here, if you have to scan 5,000 profiles, what are your strategies? How much time do you spend on case studies and portfolio? And as a designer, what should one do to stand out? Okay. Okay, let me ask a question to the panel here, folks right here. How long do you think a recruiter takes to scan a profile?
5 seconds.
Okay.
5
Anyone
seconds.
else?
Half a
Anyone?
minute max.
5 minutes.
Do you want to, Shinu, do you want to bust another myth today?
Rich, I think you should be the person doing it now.
Cool. So, an average recruiter, this is a very scientific study done by AON. Average recruiter takes 8 seconds to 2 minutes to go through a resume.
Yep.
Now, for something like India, okay, now things are very different. So, okay, let me give you this context. Things are very different in India and abroad. Now, if in abroad, if you open a job, people who are product designers will only apply. But here in India, accountants, back-end engineer, product analyst will apply even for a product designer role. So my brain is wired like I know this is not a designer profile, reject. But now, let's say a designer profile came in. I'm going to take, I take anything around 10 seconds, 10 to 15 seconds to go through the projects. Majorly, what I see is college, which college have they gone to, when they graduated, or where are they working. That is also very important, where you're working, and what projects have you done. And also, apart from the other things, right, like the way we said, how do you present your resume, your the fonts you're using, the spacing, grammatical errors. Now, I think 4 years down the line, since I've been into the industry, my brain is wired in such a way that when I see a profile, like I okay, how do I put it across? Subconsciously, my brain is already scanning all those things. Like I don't even need to put an active effort. The active effort only goes to read the project and where they are working.
Correct.
Now,
Yeah.
coming to your point, how do you stand? What should one do to stand out? I think we already spoke about, right? Like, how do you get personalized? Like, why should I see your profile? Like, why should like what should interest me to pick up my phone and give you a call? So yeah, Shinu, you want to add something there?
No, I think Rich covered all the points here itself. The first thing that I noticed when I see this, like I said, there's a funny example. I opened up a chief information security officer role in my company, and I'm not even joking. Our security guard applied there, right? I'm not joking. This actually happened, and we were all laughing about it. But yeah, so we get like different kinds of profiles here and there. So subconsciously, we end up scanning everything while we're going through the profile itself because on ATS, everything gets passed, right? We get to know the company, we get to know the tenure, we get to know like the years of experience, everything there. So if we have a role, for example, a senior product designer between 3 to 6, right? We start from probably 2 years, and we end it at around 8 years. It doesn't mean it's 3 to 6 or 3 to 6 के बीच में ही देखते हैं हम लोग. We also give it like a gap, a buffer in between because we know there are some people who are exceptionally good. 2 साल में senior product design बन जाता है, right? So we look at those aspects and we start scanning accordingly from there. And company specific hai, for example, my company, because we have a certain project, for example, UPI project, right? We want people with a payments background. जो पेमेंट कंपनी में काम किया है जो पर्टिकुलर स्पेसिफिक प्रोजेक्ट में काम किया है तो माय फर्स्ट स्कैन विल ऑलवेज बी विद रिस्पेक्ट टू ओके दिस गाइज फ्रॉम द पेमेंट्स इंडस्ट्री सो आई लुक एट दैट first, right? If I cover that, then I move to the next industry that is more suitable, and then I take it from there. So that's how it works for us. Yeah.
There's a small question I like to attach to this. I think this is something that has got repeated on the question segment. People are asking what is the optimum number of case studies that you are expecting on people's portfolio? Is there a number?
There is no number. Even if it's one, two, other that one is too good, like I said, the point that we mentioned, do's and don'ts, right? That should be more than enough for us. Doesn't matter how many. There'll be a lot of people with a lot of NDA and so on. We understand that, right? But what they showcase should be the best.
Quality over quantity.
Quality, 100%.
Got it. Actually, while I think we are much over time, and I want to thank both of you for all the
Guys,
time.
sorry for interrupting. Guys, I have the last question.
What?
By the way, beautiful presentation, Rich. And yeah. So
Thank you.
my question is, how does the evolution of communication skill factor into hiring process in design role, obviously?
So, sorry, just to be clear, you mentioned communication skills, right?
Yes.
I'll take it up.
Sure.
Communication is very important when it comes to anything in design, right? Let's talk about credit. As a product designer, you are going to be speaking with the front end engineers. You are going to speak. You'll be talking to a lot of back end folks. You'll be talking to a lot of different people on the floor. So over there, you need to be strong with your communication. You need to be strong to put across your case. This is where your communication skills come into picture. When we were hiring for a product designer, we came across this one candidate. He is exceptional when it comes to design, but communication skills were not there. We had to, go forward and not select him because communication is important when it comes. I believe communication is very important, not just for the design roles, but for anything when you get into corporate. Like there are some roles where you don't need to communicate at all. Like there are some QA roles where you can just sit and do testing. You don't need to communicate. That's a different thing. But as a designer in a startup, you are going to be talking to a lot of people, and English being a language of communication in corporate India. So that is something you need to have fluency and be strong around it.
So Rohit, I mean, again, I think it's from companies to companies in a lot of ways. When I look at people, right, if they're able to communicate in any one language which is strong, I think for us, for example, Hindi or English, right, it shouldn't be much of a problem if the design skills are amazing. Um, One thing that I've noticed is I've in fact come across a lot of people who are very strong in the local languages, right? But their design skills are not that the best, but they're able to communicate on a basic level when it comes to Hindi or English, right? And if the role is a junior role, we're absolutely open to it, right? To get them on board because they will learn on the job, they will learn in time. But as they grow senior, it's important that stakeholder management becomes a very important aspect for them, which means communication also should be on point because you reach a point where you start working with founders and co-founders, and those people are humans of few words, and you have to gauge, you have to understand what they're trying to say, right? So there will be no one to help you in that sense if you're alone in that conversation with the founder or co-founder, right? Only you can help. If you interpret that wrong and give a different project, right, not going to be a good thing. So communication is important in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Ron.
Awesome. Guys, I think we cannot take more questions. I remember Shrinu had a plan to get this half an hour to have later. But I hope we can get you guys again on board some other time whenever you can make it here. But again, thank you so much for all the insights and all the effort and energy you put into this presentation and every information that you shared with us. Highly valuable. Love every part of it. Something I'd like for everyone else to know, like I think I had a chance to kind of know Shrinu and Rich, both of them personally. I like to share small instances of knowing both of them that way. So I don't know if you follow Shrinu on LinkedIn or not, but you should. So Shrinu has this habit of every time he gets a person in his team, when the person joins the company, he writes a small letter for them on LinkedIn. And it's as good as a love letter of, having that whole back and forth relationship, knowing each other. It's actually very beautiful. You should read through those. And I think that has been some of the most catching experiences I've had. Like I want to read through it, and I think it's written beautifully. It comes from a very great place in his heart, and I think that's one of the best practices I've seen from the recruitment person. I really love those, and I think that's when I think texted you, bro. I love what you write. I really appreciate that, and I think more and more people should do that. I think it makes that bond between a recruiter and a designer much more stronger. I think this is something I'd go ahead and do for years. So great stuff there. Really like it, Shane, bro.
Thanks a lot.
Rich is in Cred as well, so we both have worked together. And sometimes I saw Rich used to shadow my calls with designers I would interview. And first I thought, like the whole intention is to see if I'm doing it right. Like, I'm fucking up there. But then I realized that while he was doing that, because I could use some more practice, I'm sure. But Rich also wanted to understand my perspective in terms of what I'm looking into profiles so that he can scan profiles better. And I think that give and take in terms of learning was such an amazing experience to see because I haven't seen recruiters taking an active part in learning from designers as well. So I think you both are absolute gems of recruiters. You shared major savage truth bombs that I think we could use for ourselves, plus all the nice things in that. So thank you so much for being here. I hope we can get this bond to be better and you can have on this panel again soon. So yeah, thank you so much and thank you so much for your time. I hope you guys have a great Sunday.
Thank you, thank you. Mayank will come back to you, and Daria will come back to you as well. You can, send us a message on LinkedIn or whatever. We're happy to, answer.
Yeah, man. I'm on Discord, so feel free to just bombard me with messages.
Yeah, yes. Thanks. We'll answer it after whenever we can. Don't worry about it, but we'll answer.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys. That's really appreciated. Thank you.
It was a really great session.
Sure. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Malik.